Hey, how's it going, everybody, and welcome to my review of Rocketman. And no, not that Rocketman. No, yeah, that Rocketman. So Rocketman is a biopic of Elton John, which was directed by Dexter Fletcher and stars Taron Egerton as Elton John. And this movie was produced by Elton John. I think it's kind of a way of him getting his story out about his life. We go from his early childhood, where he discovered his musical talent, growing up with kind of a bit of a torn family, and then his rise to fame, his meeting with Bernie Taupin, who of course was his lyric writer, and yeah, his dabbling with drugs, and the way he had to wrestle with being a homosexual and how it affected his life and career, and leading up to today where, well, he's still alive and doing his thing. So I guess it's important to let you know where I come from as far as how I feel about Elton John. Look, it's kind of the same thing as I had with Bohemian Rhapsody, where I wasn't a big Queen fan, but I respected the fact that they were one of the biggest bands of all time. And it's the same with Elton John. Look, I realize that the guy is a musical genius. He is incredible, but I'm just not really a big fan. Like, I don't dislike his music by any means, so if you're an Elton John fan, don't worry, I gotcha. But for me, it's just one of those things, you know, if his songs are on in the background, cool, but I'm just not a fan. And I'm also kind of going through a bit of musical biopic fatigue, because lately we've had a lot of them. I mean, we've had Bohemian Rhapsody, we've had The Dirt, we've had Lords of Chaos, and now we got Rocketman. I mean, these things are even starting to crossbreed now, because if the name Dexter Fletcher is familiar to you, it's because he was the guy who took over directorial responsibilities from Bryan Singer on Bohemian Rhapsody. So factoring in all those things, I was kind of a little reluctant to go see this. Like, yeah, I was a bit take it or leave it. But some of the reviews coming in were really good, so I thought, look, what the heck, I'll go check it out. And yeah, I liked it. So as far as things I liked about the film, Taron Egerton, oh my god. Yeah, like, it took me a little bit to kind of get used to him being Elton John. I mean, he didn't really instantly grab you the way that Rami Malek did with Freddie Mercury, but yeah, over a bit of time, you really got to believe that this guy was Elton John, and especially the fact that he sang all the songs himself, like every note was Taron Egerton, and my god, he sounds so much like Elton John. I thought Jamie Bell delivered a great performance as Bernie Taupin, who, you know, there was always this thing where he was just the lyricist, but it wasn't just the lyricist. I mean, you know, this guy wrote all the words that we know so well, that we associate with Elton John's songs. And yeah, so it was kind of interesting to see where that relationship was going to go. I thought the way that they recreated a lot of Elton John's costumes and stuff was really good. Like, in the end credits, you see side-by-side comparisons of what they did in the film to the real Elton John. And yeah, it's really when you see those things that you're convinced completely that they did a bang-up job on the production design. And I like that they did something a little bit different with this film. It wasn't just a straight-up biopic. This was a little bit more fantastical. Like, they actually treated it as a musical in a lot of ways. You know, there are moments where the characters break out in song. Often they used Elton John's songs, but they twisted the lyrics around to suit the scenes. And they use a lot of these things to sort of bridge the gaps in Elton John's life. Like, I mean, you know, let's face it, this story spanned decades, and in order to compress all that into 2 hours, yeah, there were times where, you know, he went from a boy to a young adult, and yeah, they'd use a song and dance number to kind of bridge that time gap. And aside from that, this movie didn't shy away from being bold. You know, a lot of the things that people complained about Bohemian Rhapsody being watered down, I think they're probably going to be satisfied with this film. You know, there's a lot of drug use, gay sex and stuff. Like, yeah, this movie didn't shy away from any of that. I think my main gripe with this film, and it's something that nearly every musical biopic suffers from, but you can't really blame it too much, but it's just the fact that they tried to condense decades of story into 2 hours. You know, it's never easy, and every musical biopic suffers from the same thing, in that it just often feels rushed. Like, I think a prime example is later on in Elton's life when he gets married. It's pretty much the next scene, things are breaking up, and the next scene they're divorced, and it's like, wow, why did you even have that in there? I mean, they have to have it in there to tell the story, but it just felt rushed. And there were a lot of things in this movie that just felt sort of brushed over. And aside from that, and look, I'm probably gonna be one of the only people who think this, but for me, even though they did show a lot of the stuff, you know, his drug use, his spiral into addiction, the homosexuality and everything, I don't really feel that they made it compelling enough in showing the consequences that it had on his life and the people around him. They did do that, but not in enough of a way to make it that interesting. And again, this is just my opinion, but yeah, I don't know. It was kind of like, you know, his whole thing where he comes out to his mom and stuff, and she's just like, yeah, I've known for years, and he's, you know, and she says something along the lines of, you know, maybe keep it a secret, it'll affect your career. I'm paraphrasing here. But, you know, that was kind of it. So overall, yeah, look, you know, it was a fine film. I definitely don't regret seeing it. I probably won't be owning it, I don't think. Like, it was entertaining enough, but I don't really feel like it had any sort of rewatchability. So that being said, I'm going to give Rocketman a 6.5 out of 10. Alrighty, thank you very much for taking the time to watch my review of Rocketman, and I would love to know what you guys thought of it, because I know there's a lot of differing opinions. I mean, look, every movie these days is divisive, so let's hear what you guys thought of this. So fire away, drop me some comments either here, Facebook, or Twitter. All the social media links are in the description below, because I like to talk about movies, and I would love to talk about movies with you. Catch you next time.
Click subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest movie reviews. Skynet will be taking over any day now, so what have you got to lose? Nyah.